What's going on, guys? It is September 2nd. It's probably been quite a while since last update. Last video was more nutritional focused, but here we are at FAM Tampa. I just got back from Pennsylvania, so I'm actually pretty fatigued. Only slept like 4 hours, but I did nap on the plane a bit, and it's time to fucking train. So I am 22 days out from the INBF Natural Mania. It's crazy to say that because it's been 4 years since competing, and the fact that I'll compete in 3 weeks is mind-blowing to me. But here we are, we're getting the job done. This prep has been really different and interesting in many ways, but it's a beautiful thing, man. It's a different process every time. It's been a good learning experience and just a lot of personal growth. And the biggest thing I've noticed this prep is there is never a perfect time to do whatever you want to do, right? Like you might say, oh, you know, I want to wait 3 months because I'm currently dealing with X, Y, and Z scenario in my life. I want to get through that, and then I'll pursue this next goal, or I'll commit to this next thing. And there's always going to be obstacles in your life. So there literally is no such thing as a perfect time. And if you just want to do something, you got to start today. And you know, the journey of 1,000 miles starts with that first step. That quote is so fucking true. And I'm glad I started prep like 16, 17 weeks ago. And I'm glad I'm just fucking sticking this out, because a lot of people will just throw in the towel when shit gets hard or gets inconvenient. But when you commit to something, you just find a way to make it happen. If it means a lot to you and if it's something you want to do, get it done. So here we are, 21-ish days out, and I got a chest and back workout today. You guys already saw one of those earlier, earlier this prep on one of these episodes, but here we are again. And yeah, man, just wanted to give you guys a quick update. All right, quick side note, guys. This hoodie just came in the mail today, and the legends, John Meadows, the Mountain Dog, huge rest in peace, man, just passed away a few weeks ago, and I literally was crying in the airport the second I found out. Never had the opportunity to talk to John in person, but we have DMs going back to like 2013 on Facebook, and we used to chat on Instagram, and it was so fucking heartbreaking because it's someone I truly admired, like as a human being, as a father, as an athlete, as a coach. So I'm really glad I picked up this merch. And yeah, man, the whole industry is gonna miss him. So RIP to John Meadows, and man, support his family by going to mountaindogdiet.com, picking up apparel, buy a training program of his. Even though he's no longer here, obviously that money is gonna go to his family, and nobody deserves it more than him. So I just wanted to quickly plug that. John, I love you. Even though we never fucking met, I was literally bawling my eyes out in the airport, man. So yeah, much love. Thank you for teaching so many people your methodologies and just moving the industry forward. And I mean, I know you made me a better person, coach, bodybuilder, and just a better thinker. So I really appreciate everything you've done, and the whole industry appreciates you. So God bless you guys and your family. Cool. All right, guys, so the first paired exercise, this first movement of the day, is this pull down over here, moving through shoulder extension, really targeting the lats, and then hitting that incline hammer strength chest press. So basically, it's an agonist, antagonist superset. One's really working the vertical fibers of the lat, pulling through extension, and then that hammer strength press is moving through shoulder flexion and adduction, really hitting that clavicular head. So I pair those two together. Today's a slightly higher rep day. So I'll do one top set, maybe for 8 to 10, and then my back off, I'd like to get up to 15 reps. So today's a little bit of higher rep work, more metabolic work. And then we'll move on to the next one. So yeah, check it out. All right, guys, just wrapped up that second paired set. Again, it was antagonist-agonist, so I did horizontal pull, moving through shoulder abduction, and then a horizontal press, moving through shoulder adduction. So essentially got a really good upper back, mid-back stimulus on the row, and then a really good sternal pec stimulus on the press. Now I'm finishing with like one last superset and maybe an isolation movement, and it's a wrap. So me and Killian gotta get the fuck out of here. It's downpouring. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but it's fucking downpouring in here. And it's late, it's Friday. My ass is tired. I gotta eat, see the wife, see the family, see my puppy that I missed too. So anyway, hope you guys got some value out of this. If an artist is working on a painting, you see the painting when the painting's done. You know, you don't see the painting, 75% way through, 80%, 90% way through. So that's kind of how I feel right now. I also think that sharing your physique has ruined the sport of bodybuilding. It gives people false expectations of what the bodybuilding contest prep process is actually like. Like, it's not all fun and glory. It doesn't matter if you look great at 3 weeks out and you look like shit on stage. So all that matters is fucking show day for the actual artist or for that athlete. So where are you at, bro? Oh boy. What's going on, guys? We are at about 2.5 weeks out. Today is Thursday, September 9th. So this Saturday will be exactly 2 weeks out. Earlier this week, my man Killian and I linked up for a chest and back workout at FAM. That was actually on Friday, so about 6 days ago, right when I got off the plane from Pittsburgh. I was at North Americans for my man John Arizari, who ended up taking second in the super heavyweight class. Super close call. Could have fucking went either way, especially at night. I wish they rejudged them in the finals because they told him to come back tighter, and we came back like 6 pounds later in the evening and looked better, and the guy who won looked worse. So I was pissed they didn't rejudge, but anyway, huge congrats to my man John Arizari for taking second. Next time he steps on stage, he's definitely fucking earning that pro card and taking his class. So anyway, right when I got back, it was straight back to work. The travel was pretty fatiguing. I've been traveling a lot. So right before going to Pittsburgh, I was actually in New York and New Jersey that weekend before. So I traveled to New York, came all the way back to Florida, taught on Monday, which was the first day of the semester. I think it was August 30th. And then I flew out to Pennsylvania on Tuesday, was there Tuesday through Friday, and then came back to Florida Friday. So it's been absolutely exhausting with a lot of travel while trying to manage all the variables of contest prep. But honestly, I continued to make progress. I stayed on top of the big rocks. Unfortunately, sleep was absolutely hindered and stuff like that, and the schedule and the routine was thrown off, but I made sure I got my training in, I made sure I nailed my nutrition, and the fat loss kind of continued to happen. So anyway, right now I'm just over 2 weeks out, and I wanted to answer some questions for you guys. So I made a post on Instagram in regards to some things you guys may be curious about in contest prep in general, as well as my own prep. So the first question was, how do you know how long you should be in a contest prep for? That's honestly a great question. Some people prep for 12 weeks, some people prep for 16 weeks, some people prep for 24 plus weeks. Some people try to prep in 6 to 8 weeks and it's a disaster. So that's a really good question. And the truth of the matter is it comes down to how much fat do you have to lose to get stage lean? And also you want to think of it in regards to a percentage of your total body weight. Now, if you are a male bodybuilder and you have 20 pounds of fat to lose to get stage shredded, you can probably do that in 16 weeks or so, or maybe even 12 weeks if you really want to push it. But it would be really silly to try to lose more than 20 pounds or 20 pounds in a shorter time frame than that, right? Another thing to take into consideration is that it's all relative. So 20 pounds to lose is different on someone that starts off at 200 pounds and is cutting down to 180-ish compared to, a female that maybe starts at 135 pounds and needs to get to 115 pounds. There is a drastic difference there. So you also want to think of your total percentage of your body weight that you're losing, all right? Really good general rule of thumb is that you don't want to lose more than 1% of your body weight per week. And you don't want to lose any slower than 0.5% of your body weight per week. So for a 200-pound person, they can lose up to 2 pounds per week in the beginning of prep, and they want to ensure that they're losing at least 1 pound a week, and that's that 0.5 to 1% range. All right, for a 150-pound person, that's going to be losing a maximum of 1.5 pounds per week and no less than 0.75 pounds per week. So that rate of loss changes based on how big you are to start and how much fat you have to lose. The more fat you have to lose, the more aggressive you can be. So it's important to basically assess, okay, I'm X amount of pounds, I have X amount of body fat, and then let's just say you're 15% body fat and you need to get to 5%. You need to say, okay, I need to lose 10% of my total weight. And that's assuming that you're preserving all of your lean body mass. So oftentimes you actually have to lose even more weight than you think. But you definitely need to have a target weight that you should look shredded at and then give yourself an appropriate timeline. I hope that helps. If you have any further questions, feel free to drop a comment. From Donald Milstein, and that is, how did your training volume and exercise selection change during contest prep? And my training volume has almost stayed exactly the same this entire prep. Every once in a while, I will auto-regulate my training sessions and reduce my volume by just doing like one less working set for an exercise or not even doing an accessory movement. But for the most part, it stayed the same. I would make those same auto-regulatory calls even in my improvement season based on how I felt, how the stimulus of the entire session was up until that point, and a host of other factors. The biggest thing that has changed for me is in regards to exercise selection. In the beginning of prep, some of my pressing movements were dumbbell based. I was doing dumbbell incline press. I would sometimes do a dumbbell flat press, but now for the most part, I have removed all free weight pressing movements and I'm just doing machine presses. So something like an incline hammer strength press feels way better right now, and I'm able to maintain performance on that lift way better than I can the dumbbell. And the reason for that is when you're utilizing the machine, you have that artificial stabilization, and that increases your ability to produce force. So as you get leaner and leaner, your structure changes a bit as you're losing fat, and those free weight movements demand a lot more stability. And as your body changes, it's going to be harder for you to maintain stability and maintain force output. So a lot of people see their strength starts to decrease with pressing movements, especially with free weight stuff. So I switched all of my pressing movements to exercise, to machine exercises, and that's been a huge advantage. Otherwise, everything stayed the same. My main movements for legs have been like hack squats and RDLs. Those are still kind of my bread and butter. The only lift out of the big three that I'm doing is the barbell conventional deadlift. I'm not doing barbell chest press. I'm not doing barbell back squats. Just does not fit my mechanics well, doesn't serve me well. It's really systemically fatiguing, and the stimulus to fatigue ratio just isn't worth it. It's not a good bang for my buck, so to speak. So doing a lot of machine work, a lot of exercises that fit my body well, and I've been able to actually increase strength or improve performance on the majority of my lifts. This contest prep, like I just hit a hack squat PR literally a week and a half ago at a new low body weight that I wasn't even doing when I was 22 pounds heavier in my off season. So I'm really happy about that. My pulling strength has stayed, and then my pressing strength is where I haven't really progressed. I've just been able to maintain a lot of it, and I lost a little bit of pressing strength on certain exercises like a Nautilus shoulder press, for example. But yeah, one thing I will say, even on the movements I've lost strength on, I'm still doing top sets at the same heavy loads I was doing previously. I'm just not getting the same amount of reps I was previously able to do. And then I would do a back off set with lighter weight and get more effective reps on those back off sets. So there's a lot of ways to do it, but I like trying to essentially subject my muscle tissue to the same amount of mechanical tension that it was used to in my improvement season. So I'm not reducing my loads there on those machine movements. Even if I'm able to produce less reps and my performance is dropping off, I'm still moving the same loads just for less reps on the top set, and then I'm doing more back off work to get more volume and more effective reps throughout the entire workout. Where is your mindset at this point? I kind of covered this in other videos. It has changed a little bit throughout the contest prep. So if you check out episode 1, you'll kind of see why I decided to contest prep this year. You'll learn a lot about my mindset, at least at the start of prep. I will say, for the most part, it's been fairly similar, but one thing I will share is that contest prep is like a emotional, mental roller coaster. So there's been times in prep where my confidence is really high. I'm really excited about the show. I think I'm gonna do great, and I'm just excited to hit the stage. And then literally that same day, just 30 minutes later or an hour later, I'll feel like I look terrible and my confidence is really low and I don't want to compete. And I'm like, why the fuck am I even doing this? So I think this happens to a lot of athletes. I know it happens to a decent amount of my clients. Maybe some of them don't share that, but I think that emotional roller coaster is really normal. Right now, this present moment, confidence is high. I had posing practice this morning with my posing coach and my client, Emily. And I was just really happy with how things are looking and how things are progressing. So confidence has increased, but you know, I'm sure later today or maybe tomorrow that confidence might dip, and then I might go through a little swing. So I just wanted to kind of mention that. I think it's normal to experience that throughout prep, but just kind of remember why you started, remember how far you came, and then if you know you're beating your previous best, then that's kind of the entire point of this entire journey anyways, to be better than you were before and get closer and closer to your maximum potential, and essentially just learn more about yourself and continue to challenge yourself. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. How do you plan your refeeds? So I plan my refeeds in a very auto-regulated fashion based on how my rate of weight loss has occurred. So like how much progress I've made over a 7-day average from week to week. If I had a massive dip in scale weight, like out of nowhere, so if I lost like 2.5 pounds kind of out of nowhere, that would give me a good opportunity to say, okay, I can increase food a bit. You know, I had a huge like whoosh of weight loss. If I look super flat and I kind of just want to reassess how I look when my muscle glycogen is full, I can refeed. And then also if training performance starts to decrease and I just feel really tired in the gym, not able to lift the loads that I want to be lifting or I should be lifting, that could also be a sign where, hey, you know, you've been dieting and in a deficit for 10 to 14 days straight. It might serve you really well to increase your carbohydrates, increase your total calories, refill that muscle glycogen, and take that refeed. So a lot of factors come into that, but I do utilize it kind of on a more auto-regulated approach. So, you know, I check in with myself every Saturday. I don't tell myself like, okay, you're gonna refeed once later on this week, on this day. I have no idea until I really need it. So there's a lot of ways to go about it, but it absolutely can improve your performance in the gym. It can improve your mood. It can improve your ability to adhere to the plan and the sustainability of the diet. And then it will improve your look. So it actually gives you a better gauge of where you're currently at and gives you a more honest, objective look of how your physique is going to look when you're fuller and you have more glycogen. So it's important to utilize, but you want to utilize them in a smart, logical fashion. Again, you can take everything I just mentioned and take that into account, or you can work with a really good coach that kind of knows what they're doing and knows what they're looking for. All right, but I hope that helps. Was that cool?
Yeah.
And then one other thing I'll say about refeeds, a lot of people ask, how many calories or how many carbs are you adding on your refeed days? I personally take a lot of my refeeds as 2 consecutive days back to back. I rarely do one refeed. If I were to do one refeed, it's usually going to be a bit more aggressive, so it's going to be a larger calorie increase and a higher carb bump. But generally speaking, it's a good idea to take yourself out of the calorie deficit. So for example, if you're burning around 2,500 calories per day, you know, in total from your total daily energy expenditure, your needs, and your exercise, and you're eating 2,000 calories per day, you're in a 500 calorie deficit on a daily basis, give or take. So when you refeed, you should at least go back to theoretical maintenance. So I would increase my calories by 500, primarily through carbohydrate intake. And essentially that's 25 grams of carbs is 100 calories. So I would increase my carbohydrate intake by 125 grams of carbohydrate. That is my 500 calorie increase, and I'm no longer in a 500 calorie deficit. I'm now at theoretical maintenance. And those 2 days at theoretical maintenance really allow my body to kind of recharge a bit, take some of that stress off of the body, reduce some fatigue, refill muscle glycogen to a small degree, and essentially just give you an opportunity to reassess how you're truly looking and where things are at. Okay. Last thing I'll say about refeeds, there is a little bit of data that taking 2 consecutive refeeds back to back does increase your leptin hormone, and that is really important for your metabolic rate. So the randomized control trials on this is a little bit mixed, but there is some evidence showing that it may help you essentially maintain your metabolic rate and potentially mitigate some of the negative adaptations that occur over an extended diet. So that's another reason that you should consider implementing dietary refeeds via carbohydrate and just overall calorie increases. Cool. Got a quick question here on peak week. I'm not going to answer that now because my man is flying out to New York for peak week. Well, kind of, he's coming the day before the show. But what I'm going to do during peak week is I'm going to vlog myself. I'll explain the entire peak week process, and I hope to put that out in a video. However, if you have any questions or you're just super interested in learning about peak week, my colleagues and I just published a narrative review paper that is all about peak week for physique athletes. So that's actually open access. You guys can check that out just by searching the title. I'll leave that right here, and I'll also link it down below or something like that. So I got a couple of similar questions. The mental and physical differences with this prep compared to 2017. And then another question was, how has your approach to prep changed since your first show to now? So since the first show to now, I covered a lot of that in episode 1 and the nutrition episode. But from 2017, my mental and physical differences, mentally, I will say I'm not like as hell-bent on like winning the pro card as I definitely was in 2017. This show absolutely means a lot to me, but I used to like that 2017 prep for the Hercules competition. I put like unnecessary amounts of pressure on myself that I don't think were, beneficial. I don't know if I wouldn't say they were necessarily harmful, but I just don't think it was necessary, so to speak. So right now, if I do turn pro, it looks like I'm going to make, God willing, everything works out, I'm going to try to do a WNBF Monster Mash, which is in Massachusetts. It's a hard state to say. So I'm going to do the Monster Mash, God willing. I already have 3 clients doing it. So it'd be a really, really fun time. 2 of them are pros, 1 of them's an amateur, and it would just be a really fun time. It's a stacked show because it's like 2 weeks before Worlds. So everyone that's trying to qualify for Worlds does that. So I feel like I will be competing with some of the best anyway. But the reason I'm not doing Worlds is for multiple reasons. A, I like climbing the ladder. So I kind of would rather just do a pro show and call it. And then B, I might not even be at Worlds. I might be in Egypt at a INBF, WNBF show there. It's the first time they have an affiliate in that organization's presence in Egypt. And I have a client out there competing, and I would love to go. So I might be in Egypt during Worlds instead of Vegas. So I won't be doing Worlds if that's the case, but we'll figure it out. Anyway, yeah, that answers the question, right? How has your prep changed throughout the process with your diet, workouts, and mental? I mean, I kind of already answered that. Again, not much has drastically changed this prep, but I have been more flexible than ever. I've still been eating my mom's cooking, which I've never done in the past. Weighing out each food source and guesstimating to the best of my ability. I know it's slightly off, but still weighing out each food source and saying, okay, I gotta add 10 grams of fat because I know she added some oil and whatnot. But I've just been more flexible than ever from a nutrition standpoint. Ensuring I'm staying in a calorie deficit and never like overeating by any means, but not being overly obsessive with weighing every single thing to the gram, or not fearing if I'm guesstimating a little bit, as long as I'm very, very confident that I'm still in a very adequate deficit. So it's been good. I hope my wife appreciates that. I know it's been good for me too, though. It's not just for her, not just for my family, it's for me as well, but it's been good. We had questions about like rate of loss, and I recommended you guys essentially assess where you're currently at and how much weight you need to lose to get truly stage lean. So you should be able to assess body fat in multiple different ways. You can use skin calipers, you can use technology like bioelectrical impedance, whatever it may be. You should be able to guesstimate your body fat. Once you know your body fat percentage, you know how much fat mass you have. You also know how much fat you need to lose to get to 0% body fat, like theoretically speaking, which is impossible to do. But you have an idea of how much weight you would have to lose to get super, super shredded. Long story short, I just wanted to show this. This is something that I wrote out like way before I even started prep. I started prep on May 1st, but I wrote this thing out like back in January, I believe. And it was a predicted weight of loss. And essentially what you guys will see is the first 7 weeks, I planned on losing 1% of of my total body weight. And then from weeks 8 through 15, I reduced that rate of loss to 0.75% of my total body weight. And then the last 7 weeks, I planned on losing at a slower rate of loss, which was 0.5% of my total body weight. Now, this didn't work out perfectly because I actually started my prep a little bit lighter than predicted. I started my prep at 183 rather than 186. But it says here at week 20, which would be the end of this theoretical prep, I should weigh around 163.8 pounds. And my current 7-day average is 163.0 pounds. So this was very, very close to accurate. And I think it really helped me gauge what I needed to do and where I needed to be at what time points. So there were time points where I fell behind a little bit, and it made me push my foot on the gas a bit and increase that rate of loss. So it's really beneficial to try to map that out. And even though, I predicted that 7-day average at the end to be 163.8, and I'm a little bit below that at 163.0, I still have a couple of more pounds to lose for me to be content with my stage conditioning. So, I was probably off by about 3 pounds, but that's way better than being off by 5, 7, or 10 pounds. You okay, Rip? So yeah, that's super beneficial. I will also I guess we'll get a quick screenshot of what this looks like on my phone.
Okay.
But yeah, that's it, guys. I just wanted to share that in regards to the whole rate of loss thing for sure. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed that Q&A and some of the training footage. Like I said, I hope to have at least one more episode, which is going to be the final episode of contest prep, but I might have 2 episodes because I would really like to actually record a yoga session. Anyway, that's a whole other conversation. But I hope you guys enjoyed this Q&A. I appreciate you tuning in. If you like the video, please like the video on YouTube. I hear that helps these algorithm things. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. I would appreciate that. If you have any questions at all, drop them below. I'll be more than happy to answer them and provide any insight that I can. So thank you guys for tuning in, and stay tuned for the next 1 or 2 episodes. Peak week is coming, the contest is coming. It is all coming together, and it's all happening in the next 15 days. So stay tuned. Thanks again. Much love. Talk to you later.